Right.
live
So
on
you,
YouTube right
so you
now.
don't have that. You don't have to have Zoom to be watching this.
Well, apparently, I'm confused here. This happens every single time. We're probably already live. Oh yeah, we are live. Okay, fantastic. So, hold up. I'm live here with Ollie Sylvester. It's a guy I've known for a really long time. We work together on a lot of shows. Um, so we're just going to kind of jump into it and go straight from where we normally start, which is how did you get to this point in your life? How did you start in art?
Well, I mean, I've always been creative. I guess it started when I was a nipper, and I used to play around with Lego. I always used to and Meccano and stuff like that, and um, yeah, I used to like building things. I guess that's when I was really young. It's like 3 or 4, and then I started kind of getting, and my auntie and my granddad, they used to, when I used to go down to my granddad's, he was quite a good artist, and my auntie was quite a good artist as well. So they started teaching me little techniques, and then basically when I started, well, it wasn't recognised when I was in primary school so much, but certainly when I went to secondary school, I was diagnosed. Well, they realised that I was dyslexic, and I didn't. They didn't really know how to. I just was put into kind of remedial classes and stuff like that, and still I never used to really know what was going on as far as the academic, you know, stuff, the work. So I always ended up at the back of the class doodling, and that kind of coincided with when hip hop first came over to England, which and so I started doing. My mate coincidentally came back from New York, a visit to New York with Subway Art, and I used to break dance and do all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he brought back this Subway Art, which is the kind of graffiti artist bible. I just loved it, and because I already quite liked doing art anyway. Yeah, it blew me away. So then started and got into graffiti at the age of about 11, 12. And because I didn't like school, I was in the back of the class. Just used to start bunking off and what have you, and yeah, started vandalising stuff and doing little pieces, and then it kind of it could come in, and then because I was bunking off, my mum let me. She gave up on making me go to school. Back then, they wouldn't fine your parents or bang your parents up for not, you know, if they didn't make your kids go to school. So I sprayed up my room, painted up my room, and yeah, kind of, and then it kind of just progressed from there, just doing the graffiti
So,
and
how
art.
old were you when you started bunking off? Sorry, it's like kind of what sort of age?
Probably about 12,
Yeah.
probably 12, around 12, 13. That's that, and so and then and from there, I kind of like doing graffiti. Then I kind of at first was just doing the character the letters and stuff, and then I just always like doing characters. I like comic strips and cartoons and stuff. I kind of used to just do, and when I was doodling and indoors and getting stoned and drinking tea, and yeah, I'd be doing like characters, and then so I started putting them on walls, and other graffiti artists would then be say, can you do one of your characters next to my piece, and so I kind of got known as a kind of a character art in the graffiti world there. And then hence the Della Soul Commission came along, and I did swap shop and stuff like so yeah, and yeah, so
So,
that's kind of
what was the first commission you kind of got? You mentioned quickly the De La Soul. So what was the
um
first?
that that, that was kind of maybe 86, maybe something like that. 87, yeah, 80, no, 86 before. So, oh, God, I can't remember. It's such a long time ago. I mean, I got commissioned to do like a swatch shop at like an overnight. It was an overnight job to do the swatch shop in Oxford Street. That was meant to. It was to launch a fluffy limited edition fluffy swatch watch, and I did that overnight. That was only meant to be there for a couple of days. It ended up being in the shop for about 2 years or something. and I did other stuff, point of sale, and a couple of other, stands and stuff to swatch. I can't actually remember like it's all I can't really, pin it down in what order it was. But then there's the De La Soul thing, which I did the characters for. Yeah, so yeah.
And so the Swatch, for anyone who doesn't know, is an English watch brand. Is it English? I'm not sure it's English, but it's a watch brand.
I think it's Swiss, isn't it?
Yeah, that makes sense. Most watch brands are Swiss, but it's quite big in England. It was quite big in England for quite a long time, right?
Oh, it was massive. It was massive, and they're also they're kind of collectible. Why I'm not sure if they're still going, but I mean, if you've got a pristine like jellyfish in the packet, they're worth thousands of pounds.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, I mean, the Swatch was massive back in the day. I mean, everyone was wearing a Swatch. The transparent. But do you remember they were kind of transparent, kind of bit kind of plastic? They're all kind of plastic, kind of transparent. What you can see, all the mechanisms inside, and they kind of design, very colourful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beg your pardon. Yeah. So that was it. I mean, I'm not sure if the Swatch shop is still there or if they still make them, but it was on Oxford Street. So that was great exposure at the time. It was quite a big job.
Yeah.
Very, yeah. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what kind of point are we at now? You were around. How old were you when you got the kind of Swatch jobs?
Kind of 15, 16,
Oh,
like that.
oh, so you started quite early. I mean, a lot of people. I think that's a lot more productive than potentially what would have been done kind of at school. I mean, so what was your main problems with the kind of education system, and where did you find that it
Well,
kind
I
of
think
left you behind?
I've always been I've never really liked being told what to do anyway, and also I guess the dyslexia as well, being put at the back of the class and being put in remedial classes. I knew I wasn't stupid.
Yeah.
And also there was an element of, because I went to initially I went to, like, in secondary school, it was an all boys school, so there was an element of bullying, and there's a lot of kind of fighting, and I mean, yeah, I came from quite a nice little kind of chilled out school up in that. My primary school was up in Hampstead, and then and secondary school was a bit of an eye opener. Walking through the back gate in the morning, and just, your mum this, your mum that. People trying to start on you, and yeah, cuss. Yeah, it's just, relentless every day, and then yeah. So
Yeah. So it just
yeah,
kind of wasn't an environment that you wanted to be in, and there
no,
wasn't.
I don't think most people. I wasn't anything special. Like, I don't think a lot of people don't like it. It wasn't the best environment. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
didn't have a very good time at school either. Like, I got the same thing, put in the remedial classes and stuff like that. It wasn't, but I couldn't leave until I was 16. So I can't
Yeah.
leave till
Well,
18 now.
I was lucky. I was lucky that my mum was kind of. She knew that, because I went to I went to, like, Tavistock Centre and places like that, which were kind of like a psychologist and blah blah blah, and I was sniffing like kind of Tipex thinner, and I was just smoking. I wasn't very happy, basically bunking off, and no one could tell me. I mean, I really, yeah. And before I went to secondary school, I was, I loved school. I loved all my, classmates, and it was all great. But I don't think there's anything particularly special about my case in London, where around this area.
So,
Yeah, but yeah.
so after you kind of 15, you got the kind of Swatch job. What led you started working with musicians and things like that on albums after that?
No, just I did do local, some, because I was into hip hop. I had mates that were producing music and doing tunes and pressing the vinyl, so I was kind of like commissioned to do album covers, and the whatever it's called in the middle of the record, the designs for, and logos for. I mean, that kind of stuff went on for years after that as well. 'Cause and I still to this day know loads of people that make music, and still, and so I've done graphics for their CD covers, their record labels, design logos, and done graphics for whatever tune. Nothing major really. More kind of local kind of artists, kind of
Yeah.
hip urban stuff, I'd say.
And then, so after that, are there kind of any major projects that you would have led you here, or that you were kind of think that kind of pushed you on the way and made you really decide that you wanted to do art?
Well, I mean, I thought, I wanted, I've known I've wanted to do art for years, but I mean, there's obviously, as I say, there's the Swatch stuff, there was the Della Soul Freeze the Magic Number video, I mean, and then, I mean, a bit later on, obviously, there was that Shenzhen Biennale, Architect Biennale 2007, which was a while after that. There was other little small commissions and kind of like, you know, uh, graffiti conventions and stuff I did off my own back and other little commissions, art and loads of stuff I can't, I just, it's a long time ago, I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment. But yeah, so I mean, I've just been always since I was 13, 12, 13, 14 when I was doing graph and doodling and yeah, I've always just loved doing art.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. I mean, I love it. I mean, I've done, yeah, and then like early 20s, I saved up and got a Mac Classic, and I basically self-taught myself how to use, like, I think it was probably version 1 of Photoshop, Director, Illustrator, Vector Graphics, and rasterized graphics for on the Classic. It's just a tiny little screen. God knows it's about 20 inches big or something, and Director enabled me to have a little go at animating stuff as well. And I bought it actually off my mum's boyfriend, who ran a presentation company. Bought it second hand, this Mac Classic, and after teaching myself, he started a multimedia department, and basically I was as good as, if not better than the graphic designers and and other people in that department. It was a new department. It was all quite new actually, multimedia at that time. So he gave me my first kind of real job after kind of
Yeah.
being a bit boat.
What was the so sorry, just to go back, so what were you doing the multimedia for? Who were you producing it for, the school or for?
No. That was kind of my first job. It was for a presentation company up in Covent Garden called Planet Presentations, and it was kind of, maybe you could say it was a little bit of nepotism, but it was my mum's boyfriend's company. They were doing PowerPoint presentations for kind of corporate companies, like IBM, and Eurostar when that first came out, Tektronix, and some probably loads of companies that don't exist anymore. But it was really corporate presentation, and he started doing a multimedia. He started a multimedia department, basically studio. And to begin with, we were putting self-executionable like files on 1.4 megabyte floppy disks, and I had to literally zoom in and take pixels out in order take pixels out of the illustrations, the digital illustrations, in order to squeeze them onto these floppy disks.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, from kind of like that was the beginning of kind of multimedia, digital kind of animation. So yeah, I've been there from the beginning, really. I guess I remember going into work, and one day when and my colleague said, yeah, have you heard about this World Wide Web? And I was like, no, what's that? And it's like, oh, you can send this. It's a bit like a pager. You can send text messages to any other computer which is on the network anywhere in the world for free. I was like, that sounds quite interesting. And then about a year later, like, we were just doing web pages, and there was all the .com boom when people were buying McDonald's.com before McDonald's for 20 seconds, all that stuff. So I see all that kind of evolve, which was quite interesting.
Oh, no, that's really interesting that you saw it kind of from the inside from a company that was going through that. What was that like kind of during that time? Was it as manic as everyone kind of says?
I mean, it kind of, as I say, I mean, like one day we were doing kind of like these kind of trying to squeeze these execution, these like self-running presentations onto a 1.4 floppy disk, and and then it costs like 5 grand to get a CD, a times two speed CD burner. Like my state of the art PC, which I had, was about 5 grand. It was a 60 kilohertz. Right, there's more power. Probably my mobile phone's about 10 times more powerful than that 5 grand state of the art, PC that I was using. And then and then went in and the web, and then the web thing happened quickly over kind of over a year or so. And then like the main business was doing kind of web pages and stuff after that.
Yeah. Well, that's actually really fascinating. So how did you lead to kind of so you made GIFs for T-Mobile and Orange in
Well, no,
2005.
what it was my girlfriend at the time. She was going to Goldsmiths, and she came up with this concept. We kind of both came up with this concept of communicating through, because that's when mobile phones, when you could start sending like small, these 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 files were like, like 5, 10 k kilobytes, and and because I was doing the gifts, that lent itself to that. So basically, I can't remember, between us we came up with this concept of this language, a visual language where you could just, instead of text messaging, you could send it's basically what I mean. I didn't. I'm sure we weren't the first people, but we were definitely doing it like years and years ago. And not, as far as I'm aware, no one else was doing it. The big mobile companies weren't doing it. We approached Vodafone, and we got sponsored by Orange to do like an exhibition. But I mean, it kind of fizzled out. And
Yeah.
then the next thing, now it's kind of like billion pound industry, all of that Giphy and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we were, a bit ahead of the
I think
curve. I don't.
you were very ahead of the curve. Now, GIF art is kind of quite a big thing in the crypto art community. Back when you were doing it, it wasn't. It was. I always say that you may be the first ever artist to think about even doing GIFs as an art form. So, what was that like doing art as GIFs back then? Because it was quite hard to make GIFs, right?
Well, I mean, the gifts that you see up on a blockchain art exchange, I'm still using the program which came with Photoshop 7 version 7, and it I don't know if they've incorporated it into the latest version, but it's called Image Ready, Adobe Image Ready. And I mean, they stopped making it
Yeah.
decades ago. I'm still creating gifs in that. So, um, uh, and that was, I mean, at the time, it was new, cutting edge kind of animated gifs, and of course there was also Flash, which uses vector graphics, which is also, it keeps the when with vector graphics, it's scalable, you can get anti-alias kind of graph, but not. But back at that time, you couldn't use photographs in with the vector kind of Flash stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm still using Image Ready now to animate the gifs that you see up
So
on the
yeah, I've got
website.
some up on the side you now. So you're still these GIFs that you're seeing on the side now are made by the same program that you make these more modern GIFs in.
Well, I'm using that program is uh, uh, I don't know, 20 years old, maybe.
Wow.
The
It's
one I'm using to make the gifts now. It's
yes,
basically,
it's amazing that you can still make the
it,
same.
it basically allows you to take a Photoshop file with all of the different layers, different kind of like ink effects, you know, and masks and that. And basically you can open that up, image ready, and you can convert the layers into frames.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure there's loads of different new GIF animations. Well, I know there's loads of, but I mean, look at it's just the one I've always used. So, and yes, I'm familiar with it. So I still use it. I'm sure there's easier ways of doing some of the stuff that I do with the newer, the more contemporary software. But I haven't looked into it, to be honest. I quite like the fact that it's, you know, it is that old and it's retro, that software.
No, it's great. Sorry, I was just responding to someone in the chat.
Oh, no,
If you guys could please do share this video around. It would help a lot. Thank you, and thank you for watching. So moving on to the kind of next question, which actually I wanted to take a little bit of a detour, is a lot of your stuff has this kind of the newer stuff especially has this kind of more political sort of vibe. So you've got like the arty political broadcast and things like that.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So
I
what's
mean,
the kind of inspiration there? And also, just another side question is are all of your works generally, other than obviously the gifts and commissioned works, are they generally self-portraits, or how do you normally come up with the?
well, I mean, I mean, the kind of the riot ones, and well, to begin with, the like the kind of arty political, like just like that all came about during like the lockdown and just watching just that, you know, the government coming. I mean, that I'd like to say that the whole reason I started doing crypto art is because I hadn't, after a couple of weeks of lockdown, I hadn't spoken to you for a while because you know, are quite useless. And I was
Yeah.
thinking, oh, no, I haven't got any work. And so I messaged you and like, what are you up to? And you said, yeah, I'm now doing this, you know, blockchain art exchange, and that didn't mean anything to me, like blockchain art. And I was just like, okay. So then you said, if you want to put some art up there, you know, here, you know, you set me up an account. So I went up there and I happened to notice that there was animated gifs up there. And I don't know if you remember, I messaged you and I said, oh, there's animated gifs. And you got back to me and goes, yeah, that's what crypto art is all about. It's the main thing. And I said, I hadn't even heard of, before the lockdown, hadn't even heard of it. And when you said, and I was just like, fuck, just the serendipity or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I did that for a living. So I
Yeah.
was just like, wow,
Yeah.
that's, you know, that was just a mad coincidence. So that's how I got into doing crypto art, just through speaking to you, and which is mad. I was quite, you know, it was
It is a bit mental how it's all come about. It's such a strange kind of thing that suddenly appeared.
yeah. How long is the crypto? I mean, it's pretty new, isn't it? How long has
Yeah,
it
I
been
mean,
about?
2018, I think, is really when it was crypto art. But there's a lot before that. Like there's rare pepes and all sorts of stuff that goes into the history of making it. But
Yeah,
as
I mean,
like art, it's 2018.
right. I mean, because you mean, as in like selling the digital art for you know, Ethereum or
Yeah,
Bitcoin. That kind of that
yeah,
started in
that
2000.
started really in 2018 is the main point where it kind of kicked off. But so what we've kind of covered it a little bit, but I think it's worth pushing back on it a little bit more. Is what was it like growing up in North London and kind of being, especially at that time, with the art around? You said you kind of expressed yourself through graffiti. You've got some really interesting stuff behind you as well, and then and that also brings me kind of a lot to the other question: is your paintings? A lot of them do seem to be self-portraits. Is that kind of a theme? Is it about the emotion that you're feeling at the
No,
time,
well,
or?
I mean, a lot of people say that. I have in the past, just they're not intentionally meant to be self-portraits, but sometimes when I'm trying to, because it's all about kind of emotion and expression, you know, and that kind of thing. So if I'm feeling a little bit kind of you know, perplexed or whatever, I'll kind of I want to, and I'm painting, I want to kind of get the I'll look in the mirror and like sketch kind of the lines. I'll make a screw face, and I'll kind of take kind of, they're not, they're indirectly. A lot of people, I use myself as a kind of a reference, but they're not actually meant to be self-portraits.
Yeah.
And as far as the ones that I did over the lockdown and all that as well, I mean, I'm just using myself. I mean, when I've got an idea, you know, I mean, I do obviously can't go up onto nick photographs off the internet and fuck around and twist them around and, you know, in Photoshop and background and stuff. But I mean, obviously, if I want a series of kind of series, if I want to animate face in the foreground, there's no one else about it. So I mean, it's just easier for me just to go take photographs and then
Yeah.
you know filters and cut them out and different backgrounds and stuff. So it's not a it's not something that I'm kind of it's just my face is there, so it's not something that it's
Intentional. It's kind of just.
it's not. It could be anyone. It's just when I come up with the idea, when I'm inspired, which you know can be at any moment, at any point in any day. You know, I can just take selfies and just animate them. It's not something a specific thing that I'd probably rather be using other people's faces rather than my own, to be honest. It's just easiest. My face is always, you know, on my head, you know, at the end of my neck, and I can just take a photograph of it.
Yeah.
All funny faces, basically. So, yeah, that's why. But the art people over the years have said, is that a self-portrait? Is that a self-portrait? Is that a self-portrait? And, I mean, quite honestly, at least 50% of the time, I can't see it, or even maybe more of that. But it's just using my face as a reference. It's not because it's my face. It's just because if that makes any sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. It's just kind of it's the inspiration that happens to be there at the time.
You see, it doesn't. It's not really the inspiration. It's just the reference which I've got, which is there, you know, immediately. So, yeah.
So, what do you think? I'll skip it. I'll change the questions around a little bit. So, what do you think about the kind of current state of the art world? How was your experience breaking into the kind of main art world?
I think I'm not really a very arty-farty person. I don't really follow it. I mean, what I do know about the art world, I know it's kind of become a commodity. There's a lot. It's kind of a lot of it now is being bought as a commodity, and you know, people are buying it and putting it. Maybe they're hanging it. I don't know. Maybe they're hanging it in their own, you know, fat pads and whatever. Or I'm sure quite a lot of it's just a commodity, and they've got them put in a, you know, storage, and people wait for it to. I mean, I don't rate a lot of. There's loads of amazing artists out there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other kind of, you know, people come out of art college and stuff, and you know, an art teacher will say to their mate, this person's, you know, I don't know, nepotism. I mean, like I could never get my head around that kind of Tracy Eminence kind of, you know, doesn't.
Well, the unmade bed.
I just don't understand it. I'm not gonna criticize it.
No, I completely agree with you. I think it is part of the kind of taking away with her. I think it was almost, you know, it's who you know. It's not necessarily the artwork itself that was
that
good.
was basically that's basically exactly what I was just trying to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if she can even draw a decent stick man. I'd like to think at least, you know, when I look at like artists, I like to think they're you know they're craftsmen. They can at least, like Picasso for years I never got, and until a few years ago actually I saw a documentary about the history and where I mean I always just saw the abstract kind of childlike stuff that Picasso did, because again I say I don't know that much about the history of artists, or so I mean I always saw the stuff that he got famous for, and but also then I realised how he was the first kind of to do that kind of childlike abstract style. But I mean, I didn't get it. I now I do understand it and respect. I mean, I know he was a draftsman and
Yeah.
and it once in my this is just all my humble opinion. I mean, it doesn't mean shit, but
No, but I mean that's what we're here for, right?
but yeah, I guess. Um, he was a draftsman, you know, and he was a serious artist, and for years I was doing I can kind of like appreciate and relate to the fact for years to try and get a bit more loose and abstract. I would be painting stuff because because I was doing graphic art and graffiti. I'd start off doing abstract, and I always like the rough, like kind of blueprint, not because that's a bit too kind of accurate, but I always like quite rough drawings. And what I'd do without subconsciously would be by the time the painting was finished, I liked it when it was rough and loose, and subconsciously while I was putting on more and more layers, I'd be tidying it up and crisping it and taking up. And it's quite different. It's quite an art form in itself to go abstract. I found it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I always found myself tidying stuff up subconsciously when I actually. So now I do my kind of drip hatch style when I do my paintings and stuff, and rough, a bit more abstract. I still have to kind of like fight a little bit with myself, like stop tidying it up and crisping, you know.
Yeah.
Make these look crisp.
Well, actually, that's kind of interesting. So you tell us about how you developed your crosshatch style and the accident that happened with your arm and how you.
Yeah, when I was like 21, 22, I stupidly was having an argument with my mate, and I punched a window and pulled my arm out and basically severed my right arm. It's pretty grim. My hand was like I was lucky to save my hand, so I couldn't even do my own shoelace up for like 2 or 3 years. But so then there was while I was in hospital, when they first took the bandage off and I saw how bad it was, I was like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but was it all of the art in my hand, or was it in my head? You know, was it my imagination and that, or the hand? So I had to teach myself with my left hand, and that basically it was easier to do the kind of like the straight, more cubist kind of straight line. It's just easier to just kind of do the lines, and I guess, and I mean now as it's healed a bit. I mean, it's not 100, it's probably about 70% or whatever. Still got nerve damage in my right hand, but I can use it to paint, and so I use both. But that kind of the cross hatch straight line kind of thing started to evolve, and then I don't know, I couldn't tell you how the drip patch, as I call it, came about. But you know, when you're using gravity and you stick a load of paint, you get the natural like straight like lines, and by flipping the canvas about, you know, I'm getting perfect kind of, and it's abstract organic, and I'm getting kind of like wicked perfect kind of crosshatch, and by wiping away in places and stuff, yeah, it's just a nice effect.
No, it's really interesting. So one of the ones I've actually got on screen now is Text Me Back. I think the full name is Text Me Back You Can't. But this is the static kind of crypto edition. The people who are watching can see that. And that's one of Ollie's paintings, which has obviously been adapted to be digital. And you can see a few of the other ones that kind of pop up. You can see his kind of very unique drawing style. So when you draw digitally, do you draw with a mouse, or do you do it with like a welcome pad, or how do you do those?
When I'm drawing, I mean, because I used to use Coral Draw. I mean, I use Illustrator, Photoshop. I mean, yeah, it's all done by mouse, but also I also will sketch something out on the back of a kind of an envelope, and then I'll take a photograph of, so it will scan with the equivalent of scanning it in, and I'll take it to Photoshop. I'll clean it up, play around with the brightness, contrast, all the curves, and blah blah blah, and then you can fill it in with block color, and so I guess a little bit of both. But when I used to do graphic illustration, that was all kind of vector based, basically. So kind of Illustrator or Coral Draw, and that was all mouse. I never really, because of my arm, I never really got into using kind of a Wacom tablet.
Yeah. So you're right. Are you right-handed as well? Normally.
I'm ambidextrous, but yeah, I'm right-handed. Yeah, that's my initially I'll go to do my right hand.
Yeah. So we kind of touched on this a little bit, but what do you think of kind of crypto art as a whole, kind of entering the space, especially coming from outside? What do you kind of think of it as a space, as a way that artists can make money, or what are your thoughts?
I think it's great because before you introduced me to crypto art at the beginning of the lockdown, I was already doing I've already been doing animated gifs and digital art and animations and stuff. And I mean, the computer is just another medium. It's just like it's like a paintbrush, it's like or a canvas spray. It's like the computer, these programs. It's just another medium. So I've been doing digital art. It's way back from when I first bought my when I self-taught myself on the Mac Classic, funny enough, I'd already been dabbling with dealing with cryptocurrencies as well, like for a couple of years before I even knew anything about crypto art. So I'd already bought a load of made of just peanuts though, a bit like on Binance and Coinbase and stuff like that. Just little deals, making a few £100 here and there, buying and selling. Thought I was going to be a Bitcoin millionaire.
I think were you around in 2017? I think we all kind of had that feeling for a bit.
Yeah, but when it all first got in the media and everything, that's kind of when I started to like that, like everyone else, I guess.
Yeah, so it was very exciting time.
This time next year.
It's starting to kind of look like that a little bit again now. It's starting to look a bit more positive in the space.
Although it's slightly different now because as far as I'm not that clued up, still not that clued up with it. But it's unregulated. It's meant to be unregulated, isn't it? But then all the banks now are bringing out their own, where they for the last few years they've been trying to like ban it, and they've been shitting themselves. I think they've come to the conclusion they can't stop it. So now they're actually bringing out their own cryptocurrencies, aren't they?
Yeah. I think that's going to be the kind of
countries and banks, and and that kind of does, as I say again, I'm a bit ignorant, but is that the whole point is?
Yeah, well, the whole point is it's not supposed to be. I think if a government owns one, it kind of defeats the purpose a little bit.
Exactly, because then it becomes regulated.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
all good things must come to an end, right?
Yeah. But once it becomes regulated, then it's not really,
No, is there anyone got any questions for Ollie? Stuff in the chat now. We're going to kind of get towards the end. So I wanted to ask kind of maybe a little bit about more individual works. So you said you were hey, we got a question. I bought Bitcoin for £60 ages ago, and when I hit 1,300 a coin, I was freaking out. only to find someone had hacked my wallet and stole it. Oh shit! I think
Uh,
that's yeah. that's that happens. That
well,
happens to
mate,
the
and
best
there's
of us.
also it's funny because I know a couple of people that have like they bought bought bitcoins at the beginning and they saw it go up and they get the greed where they can't let go. It's just
Yeah.
like I'll hold on to it for another week and I'll just get that bit more and a bit more and a bit more and it's just gone crashed.
I,
And then
yeah, no, well, I did that.
I
I
did it
was
myself.
watching it all the way to 20 grand and I didn't sell. I was the exact same thing. And then you're watching it all the way back down. Like, it's going to recover. It has to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like almost like a mental illness.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't let go of it
Yeah,
because you think maybe it might be worth a little bit more. And it's so you've already made a ridiculous amount of money, but you can't, yeah, you can't
because
sell
I mean, I've got Litecoins and I've seen them go up to 150 quid
it.
a
Yeah.
coin and then they've gone down to like 27 quid and now they're 45 quid or something.
It will happen again. It will go back up and we
But
still
you know
won't
what
sell.
I've noticed? There seems to be a pattern. Like at the beginning of the year, they're really low, and by the end of the year, they go up, and
Yeah.
but it's all manipulated by the people, like the people that who own the the big lumps of the millions and millions of pounds. They can control the market. It's pretty
Yeah.
obvious, isn't it? They can crash or boost up the
It's
market. But
unfortunately it's kind of spread into crypto art as well. I mean, there's a lot of that going on. With the same guy in the chat said I can't I think Buddha stars. I'm probably butchering that screen name, but he said that there's a lot of money laundering in the art world, and I think that it's very easy to transfer that over to crypto, especially when you've got a double unregulated market. Like
oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, it's perfect for
yeah.
doing that. Yeah, Bitcoin was invented for the dark web, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was to
Well,
buy.
I don't think originally. I think
It was untraceable,
lucky. It was a
wasn't it?
lucky coincidence. I think it wasn't. Can't say that. No. But yeah, manipulated by South Korea. He says, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that was the crazy thing in 2017. You had that weird price where it was more expensive in South Korea than it was in England, but you could send it between Bodastavas. Bodas? Bow Baldastavas. So that's how I pronounce it, I think. Yeah, it was manipulated by South Korea. They had the price about 200. I think it was almost like $2,000 more at one point.
What Bitcoin was worth different in
Yeah,
in
on
different
different
countries.
on a South Korean exchange, it was worth more than it was on a Western exchange. So you could, if you had like residency in both countries, you could buy it from one
Ah,
exchange and sell it on another, and just instantly make money.
laughing,
Yeah.
laughing all the way to the leads.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, before we finish up, anyone have any questions? Just put them in for Ollie. And then kind of at the moment, well, last kind of question is at the moment, I think it'd probably be more meaningful to ask it towards just England. Is where do you think the world's going at the moment, and do you think there's anything that we can do to stop? We spoke about this before we came on a little bit. Do you think there's anything we can do to stop the kind of spiral that we're in at the moment, or do you think
Well,
we're
I'm
doomed?
a realist, or some people might say that I'm a pessimist, but I mean, I think God help us. It's just like it's just greed, isn't it? Like people are, it's just about money, and there there's little there's little things being done, and it's being kind of recognised more and more, and I know the younger generation are definitely on it,
Mm,
but they just they the powers in the hands of people like Donald Trump and Putin and all these kind of like greedy, the World Health Organization,
yeah,
Bill Gates,
Gil
and
Gates. Yes.
and mate, during the lockdown, I was bombarded by lots of mates. I've never heard them mention conspiracy theories before. I think maybe everyone had a bit too much time on their hands,
Well,
or maybe
I think
a lot of
everyone
it
kind of woke
makes
up a
sense.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. a lot of people were like, and people were like, there's like, you've got the WHO, the World Health Organization, and these foundations, and like Bill Gates is a part of the World Health Organization. There's government there, and they start up foundations, and they're paying money to themselves.
Yeah.
And and they, the and all of the pharmaceutical companies, they all got shares in the pharmaceutical companies. They did a test run for this virus a couple of years ago. I can't remember what the name of the convention was, but it's just that it's just
He's been talking about it for years. I mean, it's
that what
I can't believe anyone would trust Gates. If anything, he was trying to own all the computers at one point, and it's not like he wouldn't give up on that sort of power. With Linux and everything that happened there. It's funny that people instantly, oh, he must be a really nice guy. And it's like he's definitely a very power hungry person. Whatever conspiracies there are.
Because he's donating, he's like donating like 100 million quid to this charity, which he owns.
Yeah.
And they're starting foundations, and they all sit on the board of the World Health Organization. They've all got a share in these big pharmaceutical companies. It's just
yeah. Balder Stars asks, and actually this is a good time for plug as well, is do you have a YouTube channel? I don't think you do, but
I do, but it's not really to do with art.
Okay.
I would say.
I mean, plug it anyway. I think he's just interested in seeing more of you.
I mean, if you do a search on it's I don't even know. It's just got some mad like random off-key. I guess if you do a search on Ollie Sylvester, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's linked to my Ollie Sylvester @gmail.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just yeah. Search Ollie Sylvester. You'll find it. Or if you send me the link, I'll put it down in the chat afterwards, or in the description.
Yeah. It's just some mad like off-key kind of holiday. I mean, it's probably to most people, they find it quite boring. It's not really.
You never know. People watch some wacky stuff on YouTube. You never know.
There's definitely some wacky stuff up on my YouTube channel. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like all of my latest art is all on blockchain art exchange. I wanted to. This is my T-shirt. I don't know.
Oh yeah. But just so we've got some of Ollie's T-shirts up for sale actually on.
But this one's going to be up on blockchain.
Yeah, this is pretty great. So I'll get to your question straight afterwards. But this is so.
Have you seen this one before?
Yeah, I've seen this one before, but show it off for the. So you connect the dots. Brilliant.
Yeah, that will be. I don't know why I haven't sent you that one. That will be up on the blockchain exchange.
Yes, the shirts are on blockchainartexchange.com/products. But I'll put a link to that as well down below. And there's 3 of Ollie's on there, and there'll be more. And then I keep butchering his name, but Boulder Starvus wants to ask for Ollie, Robbo or Banksy?
Robbo or Banksy?
Yeah.
I knew Robbo personally. And John, his name was John, and he was he's from northwest London, so and so I mean I'm team Robbo all day long, but different artists because Robbo was a vandal graffiti artist. Banksy's street art. I mean, people get confused quite often. I mean, street art is kind of anything like stickers, mosaics, big murals painted not necessarily with spray cans. Graffiti is vandalism, crews going to train yards, spraying up trains. So yeah, I'm team Robbo.
100%.
But I mean, Banksy's a smart guy, and he's done some clever stuff, and his stencils are very clever, and he, I know back in the day, whether or not, I'm not sure whether or not he still goes out, puts himself out on a limb, but he did a lot of illegal stuff as well. So
Yeah.
just different stuff. I mean, I know a lot of street art artists go and do illegal stuff as well. It's just kind of slightly different style. So.
Do you think now, like, in some places, it's not? I think in England you still got to kind of run away. But when you, in some places in America, they're kind of almost allowing street artists to come and put it up. Do you think that kind of takes away a little bit from the art of creating
Well,
something? Oh,
uh,
Bodistar says he's Team Robbo too.
well,
Sorry.
I know, like over here in England, like they put perspex over like a Banksy. Like if Banksy does a stencil on the side of a shop wall, like the shop owner will claim it
Yeah.
and put like a perspex um, over that and say, yeah, it's on my wall, so now I own it. I mean, I've pulled data cables in Bonhams and saw all the walked through the storerooms with all the kind of like contemporary art and stuff, and seen all loads of Banksies and stuff that they've actually taken, like the back of like bars and stuff that they've actually taken, like that, literally the back of a bar they've taken off with like stencils of monkeys, and they're going for like hundreds of grams. Like,
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think that takes away from the art a little bit when it's kind of almost, it becomes an almost honor to get it put on the wall because there's something to the idea that it was supposed to be temporary, or do you think that it's good that?
I've kind of, I don't think that, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think, really kind of like hats off. Like, I don't know if, I don't think Banksy, like, when he first started doing it, he was just making a statement. He didn't have, I don't think he had any idea how, like, big he didn't think, if I start spraying, like these monkeys, like, and rats on walls, that I'm going to become this, like, like, multi-millionaire. I mean, he was doing it because he was trying to make a statement.
Yeah.
Maybe his freehand graph wasn't that good, so he decided to do stencils. But it's yeah, no, I mean, it's still kind of urban art, and it's and as I say, I mean, Banksy's, he's done loads of like I mean, a lot more than fucking I have for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Well.
illegal stuff. I mean, yeah, it's vandalism, and
Yeah.
I'm an advocate for that.
It's vandalism until it becomes art, right?
Yeah, no, good for him, man, and yeah, it's just I think he's been pretty responsible with it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, I'm not, I don't knock, but that whole thing with Robbo and Banksy. I mean, he went over. I think it was a bit what he. I just don't think he. Well, I'd like to think that he didn't understand the kind of like the rules, if there are any, of kind of graffiti, and he went over an old school Robbo piece down in Camden, and that triggered off the whole Robbo Banksy thing. Yeah, no, I'm Team Robbo. I just like to think that was down to. Well, I don't. I think he just didn't know what he was doing. He obviously didn't.
Just accidentally walked into it.
He's from some bumpkin town somewhere up in like middle England, and
Yeah.
didn't realise
Yeah.
he was going over a true patron of the arts. Whatever.
Yeah. No, Bodistar says he's Team Robbo too.
Good man.
No, so yeah, I think we've kind of. Is there anything else that you want to cover? Obviously, you can find Ollie at what's your Twitter handle? Sorry.
My Twitter handle.
Yeah.
It's Ollie Sylvester, OLLIESYLVESTER, but it's capital O and S. I don't know. I did it. I set up that Twitter account years and years ago, and literally hardly ever used it until I started until I got involved with the blockchain art exchange, because
Yeah.
I didn't realise that's kind of how
Yeah, it's
kind
kind of the
of,
place for it. I guess it's yeah.
I mean, I'm not a massive. I don't really go on. The only time I ever really go onto Facebook and things, if I've got an exhibition to advertise that, to put some new artwork up to show my friends, or to wind people up. I'm not a massive social media.
Yeah. No, I know. That's me neither. I've kind of been pulled and forced into it. Bodhisattva says Banksy is Cap from Style Wars. I don't get the reference.
Yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. This guy obviously knows his history. That is no. I mean, I actually Cap is someone that used to go over with a throw up. He used to go over like people like scene. I mean, this all goes back to what I was saying about subway art. I mean, and if you watched Style Wars, an old graffiti documentary, it'll make it clear. He basically he had a grow up, which is something that you could do in a minute. Say a graffiti legend like Scene would spend a few hours doing a piece, an amazing piece. A Cap would come along and do this throw up, which would take in like minutes, and basically on top of a piece of art that's taken hours and a lot of thought. The Cap throw up would go over it and just basically, ruin it in minutes. He has got his place in history though, Cap.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't compare Cap to Banksy, personally.
Okay. No, that's
That guy sounds like he knows he's pulling out some names. It sounds like
no, it's been really good. Thank you, by the way, for the questions and being engaged. It's been great to kind of have another person contributing to the conversation, pushing it along. So before we kind of finish it, is there anything else that you want to add that you kind of want to mention?
Who, me?
Yeah, you. Yeah. Not him. I'm him too.
Oh no, mate. No. It's been a pleasure, mate. Yeah, no. I'm not used to interviewing and stuff like that, but yeah, no, it's been good, man.
No, it's been really nice. Like it's always so chilled. I think once people get kind of onto the live stream, realize it's easy. It's just having a conversation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, we'll have to.
I'm quite modest, I don't like. I'm not. More recently, I've been as an artist, like kind of self-promoting and like bigging yourself up. I've always struggled with it a little bit, but I don't think I'm like boasting or anything.
No, you should be more. You should go for it more. I mean, a lot of artists just kind of go for.
Yeah, I've just. It's always just felt like I'm going against the grain a little bit. But
I know what you mean.
I'm getting on a bit. I want to. Yeah, it's got to be done.
Yeah,
it's a good.
Bodistar said he's just before we finish off with this. He said he's just getting into crypto art. Any advice for him starting off?
Any advice? Well, I mean, I haven't been doing it that long myself, crypto, but just, I mean, just like any other. It's weird giving advice to other artists. Just try and be original. Don't be afraid to be different. I mean, obviously, we're all influenced by. I mean, I've been influenced by other artists and comics, cartoons, all kinds of stuff throughout my life. I mean, be influenced and practice, and I mean, just enjoy it. That's the more you enjoy it, the more you love art, the more you'll do it, and the better, and the more it will. It's an organic thing.
Yeah. Oh no, awesome. Well, yeah, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much, guys. Please subscribe, share this around, and I'll see you next time for the next one. And Ollie will probably come back soon too. At some point in the near future. And definitely check him out on the Blockchain Art Exchange. The link's down below. See you all later.
Toodle pip.
Yeah. All right, that's it. We've